Hello and welcome to another video in which I, Tony Gale, talk too much and go into too much detail about a thing you've probably never thought about before. See, the last product video that I did was about these, the seismic axons, and it was quite a long and in-depth video. And I love these wheels. I'm still using them now. I'm determined to burn these out. I want to get every last bit of urethane off them. I think they're fantastic. But another new-ish freestyle wheel came out some point in the last year, and I've not talked about that yet. Frankly, I've been putting it off, but it's here. It's the Powell Nano Cubic. It's ostensibly new. It's ostensibly a freestyle wheel, and frankly, I'm a bit skeptical of both of those claims. Now, to understand why I'm skeptical about these wheels, you'll need to understand a few things about me, and about the skateboard industry, and about the recent history of freestyle. See, first of all, to deal with me, I've been involved in the skateboard industry in one form or another for a bit of a while. I've done a fair bit of testing on a fair few different types of wheels, and I've also tested a lot of wheels for my own purposes. Now, I'm no expert. I certainly could not blend urethane myself, but I've got pretty good at picking up on traits of urethane and kind of key identifiers of it. Now, for that to make sense, you've also got to understand a bit about the industry, because there's not many places a set of wheels can be made. Powell, or more accurately Bones, we'll get to that in a second, and Spitfire, they pour in-house. They have their own special factories for making wheels. If you're not those companies, you have to use creative urethanes, or a place called AEND, or China, basically. That's it. Urethane's a tricky thing to make, and outside of a few smaller brands who are literally pouring it themselves, or a few weird creative guys like Bernhard Quempel out in Germany, they're pretty much your only sources. And when you know what you're looking at, you can kind of tell which factory has made which wheel. Now, I can't prove it. I don't know for certain. I don't work for Powell, but when I got these in, the first thing I thought was, these kind of have a particularly kind of polished look and a kind of telltale smell that makes me think they're Chinese made. I don't think these are Bones, which would probably explain why they're called Powell Peralta Nano Cubics and not Bones Nano Cubics. I can't prove that. Maybe they're still fantastic wheels, but I deeply suspect that these might be Chinese made, and that generally does not bode well for urethane. Now, the more concrete part of this is freestyle's recent history, and this is the bit that I'm not expecting a lot of people who will watch this video to know, because there's been a big boom in freestyle lately, and as a result, a lot of people watching these videos really have only been doing freestyle for less than 5 years. So, some context. When I started freestyle, very early 2000s, like 2001, you just couldn't get freestyle wheels. Most of the guys my age and older were sourcing old 1980s freestyle wheels like the OJ2s or the original Powell Freestyles, which all had a certain shape. And that shape, as a result, has been, just copied. I'm not even going to air quotes this. Directly lifted for the original mode freestyles, for the Speed Lab / Moonshine Sirens, for the Never Enough Felines. All of those wheels are basically just lifting this old 1980 shape, which is functional, but it's not particularly good for a lot of modern freestyle needs, tricks, etc., etc. Now, eventually you started to see some brand new freestyle wheels in the early 2000s from companies like Nicotine and Burley and Reverse Freestyle, but all of these were basically just a street wheel with the bearing seat moved. They weren't very deep, they didn't cover the axle up much, and they were fine, but they weren't great. And that's what this is. Let's not beat around the bush here. This is not a very deep wheel. It is just a street wheel with the bearing seat moved. And as a result, it does not give you a lot of axle coverage at all. This would have been fine in 2001, 2002, but when you've got companies like Seismic making modern freestyle wheels with totally new molds, why are Powell, a multi-million-dollar corporation, putting this out? It doesn't make a lot of sense. Now, there's also another factor to consider here. Not only are these not a very good design, not only are they potentially Chinese made, again, I can't prove that, but I believe that to be the case. Powell have been promising a freestyle wheel, an actual proper dedicated freestyle wheel, for a very long time. They gave a whole bunch out at the World Roundup in 2015 or 2016. They've never surfaced. They've been making them for their freestyle team riders, which is a substantial amount of people over the years. Everyone knows that Andy Anderson and Izumi Yamamoto and Killian Martin all ride for Powell, but they don't know guys like Tony Medina rode for Powell, Rennie Shigito rode for Powell. They have this weirdly large team of riders who they sponsor and they flow gear to and they make freestyle product for, but they won't publicly acknowledge their connection to. And that's what really frustrates me the most. They're making good freestyle wheels for these guys, but then this is what the market gets. A frankly quite cheap and outdated wheel sold at a premium price. What is that about? Now look, I don't want anyone to watch this video and think I made it just to chat shit about Powell. That's not the goal here. I have multiple deep-seated concerns and frustrations with them as a company and a lot of the things they've done. But I really just want you to understand this wheel fully in context. See, making wheels costs an insane amount of money. Making a brand new wheel costs even more. I know how much Seismic spent on the molds for the Axons and previously the Focus. It is a significant investment, and that's why 90% of freestyle wheels come out of the same molds, because reusing old molds is considerably cheaper than doing a whole new thing. But this wheel, in fact, actually any wheel that is just a street mold repurpose, this is not functional for freestyle. This isn't going to last very long. I can almost guarantee that. And I understand not wanting to spend an insane amount of money on a brand new mold, especially if you're not particularly committed to the market. But let's not pretend it's a radical, new, amazing thing, or that it's a better product, because it isn't. And also, this is £60 in retail in the UK. The Axons are £48. This is a premium price wheel for, frankly, a budget design. That doesn't sit well with me. Anyway, enough ranting, enough context. Let's go and put these on a board. I'll spare you the setup montage. It just makes angry Scotsmen cry. I'm going to turn this camera off now. Next thing you know, these are going to be on a deck. And then we'll see if they are better than I think they will be. Are they? Doubt it. Now, this is going to be a very awkward shot, and I'm sure I'm out of focus. But this illustrates one of my first concerns with this kind of offset street wheel design. These Axons are used. I've been skating these quite a bit, and there's an insane amount of axle coverage here. On the Nano Cubics, brand new, there's barely any. And because it comes to this point here, that's going to wear away in no time. Before I know it, I'm going to be damaging my axle nuts skating these. There's another point to consider here, and that's rail stability, which can effectively be measured, because what you're looking at is the distance from this top end of the deck here, top side of the deck, through to where the wheel makes contact with the ground. Now, that's one of the reasons why so many freestyle wheels are 55mm and up, because it increases that footprint and increases stability. Obviously, you can also increase stability by adding risers. That's always a good thing, or using taller trucks. But the profile of the wheel makes a difference. Most freestyle wheels have the highest point towards the outside edge, somewhere here. Now, Nano Cubic, it's only there. You're effectively losing this much, like a centimetre of rail stability, just because of the weird profile. It's very strange. Before I take these boards away, I'd also like to point out, these, the Film 4.25, and these, the Paris 108s, have exactly the same axle length. So you can really see in this shot how much deeper the axon is compared to these ickle babby little Nano Cubics. Ugh. Rambling aside, the proof is always in the pudding, but one important thing to bear in mind whenever you're checking bearings or wheels is how quickly your brain normalizes things. What I've noticed in the past skating the Dragon Powell wheels, aside from the fact that they're weirdly slippery, is that they're also quite slow. And I've never heard anyone else talk about that because, like I say, you get used to it. So this is the board that I normally push around on. These wheels were at South Bank yesterday, the bearings are full of dirt, they still feel relatively fast and smooth. These have brand new Blu-rays in. I know what Blu-rays feel like, I know how smooth and fast they can be. So, will they feel like that in a set of Nano Cubics? Let's see. No. No, they don't. No. So this isn't going to translate well to video, and I apologize, but there's no way of really conveying this other than saying, try them side by side with another wheel. I mean, I keep saying they might be Chinese. I don't know. I really don't. But this is what I expected them to feel like. A lot of Chinese wheels, they have that same smell, that same kind of look to them, and they have the same feel. It's not very lively urethane. In longboarding parlance, you know, you talk about like the rebound of the urethane and how well that helps it keep speed. If you don't have like high rebound urethane, I'm not a chemical engineer, I'm sorry, but like if you don't have that, everything kind of feels a bit damp and sluggish. And again, like I say, you kind of normalize this. Your brain doesn't register until you put it side by side with a better wheel. And having gone from a better wheel to this feels slow. Now, I'll be honest. I kind of like skating here because of the scenery, because of the fact it's quiet, no one ever bothers me here, but this surface is atrocious. It just eats things alive, so I don't usually skate here if I'm not filming. But it's a good place to do wheel reviews because how well a wheel can handle this sort of surface really tells you a lot about the wheel. So let's see if we can slide these, and let's see if we can do some cocos and see if they immediately disintegrate. Okay, test number one. Can I get these sideways? I've never been much of a power slider, but let's have a go. It's definitely dragging urethane. Right, this is the bit I'm actually kind of nervous about. With how easily these wheels got sideways. I should translate to good coconut wheelies, I think, but I'm not looking forward to doing them on these damn things. Oh! False start. Let's do that again. Oh, Jesus! Oh, blimey. Yeah, there's no friction on that. None at all. All right. Let's find my groove. Try not to shit myself again. Oh! To explain what just happened, my left foot slid completely off the side of the front wheel. That shouldn't happen. Oh my God! It's really hard to hold on these wheels. I've been doing coconut wheelies for, God, 20 years exactly. Never struggled this much. There we go. By Jove, I think I've cracked it. Yep. Right, I'll be honest, I'll give them the due. They held up better to that than I thought they would do. The profile is horrible for coconut wheelies, but once you kind of got used to it, at least they slide well. But you can see now, I don't know how well this is going to translate to camera, kind of what sort of quality of urethane we're dealing with. Coconut wheels kind of tear it up quite nicely, and they give you some sort of idea as to how well made it is. And yeah, unsurprisingly, it's not particularly good urethane. It's not the worst I've ever seen. That easily goes to the old Kryptonics, the 97A, 55mm. Actually, just all the white Kryptonics that were made then. You do a few coconut wheelers and it just looked like chalk. It's a step above them. It's not saying much. Yeah, you might not have a problem with them if you're dealing with better surfaces than we get here in England, but if you're skating on asphalt, I wouldn't trust that. But let's see how well they hold up to, you know, normal, non-abusive freestyle. Let's have a bit of a session. Oh, that slid! Oh. Oh. No! Ah. I'd normally like clean up, but fuck these wheels, man. All right, session over. I did want to film more. I did want to do more tricks, I swear. And if I'm honest, I just couldn't. I really just couldn't. I've never done a review and got to the end and gone, no, terrible. Normally there's something redeemable about a product that's made it to market, and I can't really say that for these. You know, you think about the review that I did for the Shore Grip Invaders, they are not my type of truck. They do not turn, you know, you lock them solid. They don't suit me at all. But I get the point, I get who would ride them, and I know a lot of guys who love them. They're a good truck, but that style of skating. These are just not good. I've been thinking the whole time, who would ride these and why? And I've got three kind of categories. One is a street skater who likes doing slappies, but doesn't like bashing up his axle nuts and wants to protect them. In that use case, these, I guess, are brilliant. I mean, I don't know why a street skater would have watched all of this video. There's a lot of freestyle in here, but if that is you, try these, you'll probably enjoy them. If you're a freestyler who's never learned to do footwork without lifting your wheels up, you're just dragging your wheels around like a gorilla all the time, these are probably fine. I mean, they're not good, but it'll probably suit that, I guess. And I guess the third category is if you ride for Power Pro Ultra and are getting paid to promote them. It's the only use cases I can think of. They're just awful. I was sticking on stones that shouldn't have bothered me just because the diameter is so small. I was sliding around everywhere on tricks that I've been doing for years and years, some that I even invented, that I know like the back of my hand, and they would just slide out on me because there's no grip on these. And then finally, the final nail in the coffin, I got up on rail and they just felt uncomfortable. That outside edge is so small an area. It really felt quite painful underfoot, which is not what you want for a freestyle wheel. You know, if I was going to say if you can't find any other freestyle wheels, these will do, but that's not even the case anymore. You can get freestyle wheels everywhere in the world because someone will ship them to you. Even if your local shop in Timbuktu or Missouri or Beirut or Birmingham doesn't have freestyle wheels, like there'll be a web shop that will ship them. You can go to Decompose, you can go to Never Enough, you can go to Mode, you can go to Offset, you can go to Moonshine, you can go to Waltz, you can go to all of these different places, and you can have freestyle wheels shipped to you. And it is better to pay the shipping than to pay the just exorbitant retail price for these, because you will have a bad time. And that leaves me in an awkward spot, because I do have these for sale on Offset's website, because I didn't realize they'd be this bad, and I have some in stock and I need to get rid of them. And I don't know what to do about that. Please, street skaters, buy these wheels, because I don't want to sell them to freestylers. I don't want to be that guy.